Okay, today I am discussing why I am using a PowerBook G4 in the year 2025 as my main computer that I do writing or ventures on for media playback. So, one of my first things about this computer in particular that I really love is that the battery on it is still good. Look at this. Look at that. At idle, at minimum brightness, I can get 6 hours of idle when nothing's running in the background. If I go to 100% brightness, under full load, I get about 3 hours and 45 minutes, and at idle, about 4 hours and maybe 30 minutes from 100%. The battery's capacity is about at 98% of its original capacity, and it is a battery that is an original battery for an iBook G3 14-inch that fits this model. Of course, the keyboard is super easy to remove and fix if something goes wrong. The keys on this keyboard are unmatched. Look how amazing this is. These keys just are amazing to type on. It is so much better than something like this chiclet style right here. Don't get me wrong, this is still a good keyboard, but this right here, you cannot beat that. As far as media playback goes, I have a couple of different mediums that I like to listen to music on. One of those being iTunes, and this computer right here has a version of iTunes that I really like. Here, I'll show you right now. This is iTunes that came out around 2005. We can look about what year it is. This is iTunes 5. Yeah, right there, 2005. It's a very good version of iTunes because I don't really care about downloading music. I like to burn CDs because then you get a higher quality audio file, and if you want to, you can compress the audio with MP3 at 320 kilobits and still get a decent sounding file. Now, what I can do is I can go over here, grab my iPods, and connect them via FireWire. I'm running right now Mac OS version 10.4.3, and my iBook has a 1.42 gigahertz PowerPC G4 processor with 1.5 gigabytes of RAM, which is the max amount of RAM that you can put in this computer, given that it comes with half a gig pre-installed on the motherboard and only one RAM slot that has a max capacity of 1 gigabyte. And this computer, about 2 years ago, I decided to put an SSD in it. Well, I say it's an SSD. It's actually a flash card, a compact flash card with an adapter and some jerry-rigging and about maybe 65 screws that you have to take apart. But I have had this computer since 2012, which means this computer has been in my possession for nearly 13 years. Something along that line. This is a rough estimate. I could have gotten it in early 2013, but it was around that era of my life. I got this computer to play Minecraft 1.2.6 on with my friends. This was one of the newest versions of Minecraft that I could run on it. I think it could go up to 1.6, but I liked the older version for its stability, and we would connect together on his Core 2 Duo and me on my iBook, and we would play Minecraft together. And these iPods that I have all have new batteries. This one right here I particularly love. It's a first generation iPod, and it works very well, and I enjoy using it as a main device when it comes to listening to media and playback. You hold down the power button I can go and show you that the backlight does work. But yeah, this iPod right here holds about 8.5, 9 hours worth of a charge. The battery's been replaced. It still has the original spinning hard disk. It has a lot of fingerprints, but very little wear. Hello. You can tell it's a first gen based on the font that it has. And they had that font only on the first gen, and then they switched to the block lettering font after this generation of iPod. And this right here is the first generation iPod Shuffle, and it doubles as a USB thumb drive. This can be used as a thumb drive, but me in particular, I used a piece of plastic to shove the headphone jack and the base of it out so I could twist in a new battery. I found at Batteries Plus Bulbs, they have headset batteries for gaming headsets and for wireless earbuds, and I was able to find a battery after my disassembly that was nearly the same voltage and the same size, and now this little device can deliver close to 7 hours of playback, which is about what the entire battery on it will hold. Now, a lot of people who have iPods say that this first-gen Shuffle has a really good headphone out sound on it, and I personally agree with that. It's very warm, and this one is very accurate, but overall, if I had to choose between the two, I would still go with the iPod Classic every time because of just its girth. You get 5 gigabytes, which is 8 times the capacity of the 512 megabyte iPod Shuffle first generation. Now, I can still transfer applications, music, files from Word, Excel. I have some nifty programs like VLC if I want to watch a movie. I can open this program right here called Mario Paint Composer, which came out in like 2007. And you can write songs on it. This is the default one that comes with the application, but I have installed alternative sound image files that you can put into this program just by dropping it in the file system and replacing the original file that came with the application, and you can get alternative sounds out of this application. But right here, I will show you an example of the stock song that comes here. Pretty neat, right? Being able to watch the music progress as you play. You can scroll through different sections of the music to edit it. I can add things like all types of anything to this. If I wanted to write a song, I could, let's say, go onto this computer and transpose something with a particular program called Anthem Score. It allows me to record audio files through Audacity, convert them as an MP3 player, and then I can bring up a PDF of the music file that I have created, and I can just transpose it to this application, one-to-one, and then I have a near MIDI sample of my electronic keyboard in the other room, now playing on my iBook G4. Because it has an SSD, it uses a lot less battery. So the battery life, even with all these applications open, look at that. Heavy usage at 100% screen brightness. It's still 3.5 hours with multiple applications open. That's pretty dang good for a computer that is 20 years old on a battery that is 22 years old. Honestly, it's kind of impressive. And right now, I'm in the process of installing a better web browser than Safari, because truly, I don't use web browsers that often, but I'm trying to get an email client available on a web browser so I don't have to deal with not having email on this computer. I would like to be able to get on my email on this iBook, like I used to be able to before Gmail discontinued HTML support for their email client. So, in all consideration, I'm quite happy with what the iBook is still able to do in today's time. So I can just easily pop in this USB drive that's fat, formatted, and it can be used on Windows or on a Mac. It'll pop up right in the corner, and then I'm able to read and write files from this computer to another computer, and it's really nifty when I really need to add a large file here without having to go through a weird FireWire workaround with 10 adapters. So, see, look, there's this file right here that I wanted to have, and hopefully this zip file will have a browser that is more capable than Safari from 2005 on this iBook G4. Now, if I venture into the other room, we can see my Macintosh Performa 637 CD from 1994. I can turn it on via the power button, and what I can do is take files from this computer via floppy disk and put them on my iBook G4, convert them to a more modern medium, and then send an email to myself of my business expenses. I have been using this computer right here to make a catalog of what I put into my booth at an antique mall not too far from where I live. Pardon the flickering, it's just the refresh rate being different on my phone in comparison to this monitor. Oh, it's gotten worse. Oh. Now this still has the original hard drive, but I have replaced the battery that takes the time clock and got an adapter that I can put AAA batteries in, which last about 4 or 5 years. I updated one of the extensions to allow for dates past the year 2021, so I can have the current modern date on here. I installed Microsoft Excel Series 5 on here, so I'm able to catalog all of my business expenses, put them on a floppy disk, and upload them to a more modern computer where they are safer in case a theft happens at the antique mall and I need to have a documentation of my business expenditures. Here, for example, is a floppy disk that I have loaded my file that has all of my numbers on it, of what I track, and I use math equations with Excel to get the information that I need on this computer to the other computer and document it all together. So here, it's called Antique Mall. This is what I use to transfer. Here's my copy of everything that I have. I can open that up and it opens up Excel 5, licensed to me. It takes a second, but I love using this old computer for a purpose. I also use this old computer at times for Bible study and cross-referencing things in the Bible. So here we have the two different lists of what my friend and I have put into the antique mall. We're within our second week of ownership. So if I put some numbers in here, and I go down and I add a different number. That's not a number. It tallies the numbers together and puts them over here on the right, which is really cool. So now I can go down and make a list of what I have and what I need to have and what I've already sold, and then the end total amount to make sure I'm above the $45 threshold that I have when I'm sharing the cost of ownership of this booth with my friend. So knowing all of this, I can save this file, which is on this floppy disk. You'll hear the floppy drive writing. And now what I can do is quit this application, I can eject the floppy disk. Pops it right out. And now we can move into the other room with these two peripherals. Now let's say I want to have a backup of what I just wrote in. I can stick the floppy drive, or the floppy disk, into the drive. Put it into the USB port, because this has two USB ports. The drive begins to read. It takes a second, and now we have Antique Mall on this more modern Mac. So let me open this up. Now we have a copy that I can easily drag and drop to my desktop. And now we can open up the copy from my desktop, which uses now Mac Excel, and I see the exact same spreadsheet that I have with the multiple tabs formatted perfectly, and I can copy data from here and email it to myself, hopefully once I get a better web browser put onto here. 10.4 Fox lost support around 2021, so I'm seeking an alternative. When that happened, I put Linux on this computer, which in my opinion was a mistake because it made using my iPod a difficult challenge. Either I have to get 3 different cables, one of which is generally selling on eBay for over $100, or reinstall the operating system on this computer so I can easily connect the iPod without any issue with a cable that I already own. And that was the cheaper, free option that I needed to do. So all things considered, the iBook G4 is still a functional computer that we have available. They are not incredibly expensive, but are becoming collector's items. This one is in immaculate shape. I have taken very well and good care of it over the years, and I'm glad that I didn't scrap it or get rid of it over any point of time. I was able to upgrade it. It's like a memento to my childhood that I can still utilize in 2025 with form and function for today's world. Now, social media is not something that I will be viewing on this. I have a cell phone. If I want to look at social media, I can look at my cell phone. If I want to look at my email, I can look at my cell phone. I can also use Excel on my cell phone. And as long as I can utilize email, specifically my Gmail account, I will be able to get on and off of whatever I need to, email myself files, send myself backups, and use it as a quote-unquote remote server to host applications and keep files safe for future reference, or to take them off again in the future, or install them again, or find a wallpaper without having to use a USB drive if I need to access something remotely if it's already stored in my Gmail. So all things considered, don't discount old technology just because it's old. And there's alternate applications for other Windows computers and Macs, like Linux TinyCore, which can allow a computer from the year 1999 to get on Wi-Fi and get all kinds of third-party applications that help its function and form still in today's age, just because the operating system loads into RAM remotely. Instead of working all the resources down, bogging down the CPU, you can use 2% of your CPU's energy strength and still have 98% to work with, a miniature web browser, and you can use alternative web browsers within, such as FrogFind, to have an HTTP only interface with the internet and still be able to go to HTTPS sites that are now scaled down and the text is dumped to a blank page so you're able to see the page, read the content. It's great for Wikipedia and text-based searching. So something like that is a little too minimal for me for this. I still want to be able to get onto my email, but I want to disconnect from the modern stigma that is social media, that is the internet, to still have some connection to the World Wide Web, but not be fully enveloped in it to the point where it's sucking away my time and my life and making me miserable. Because I do believe that being on the internet too much can distort the way a person views their reality and make a person miserable. I'm glad to share with all of you my iBook G4, and I hope that we are all able to learn something from this video and from sharing thoughts and comments with each other. I hope all of you have a wonderful day, and God bless.